Hey guys, welcome back to episode 8, I believe. One of these days I'm going to get that wrong and it's going to be embarrassing. But episode 8 of the Completely Pointless podcast. My name is Jeremy and today I am joined by.
Nick.
And I'm Brandon.
So I've had a very uneventful week and have absolutely nothing to talk about. Nicholas, you were saying you had some stuff you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start it off with the one about gas quality. I saw a TikTok, I think it was either today or yesterday, where some dude was talking about the mileage he's been getting lately has been worse. So a theory going around right now is that they're putting more ethanol in the fuel, so it burns cleaner, but also it burns less efficient, so you're getting less miles per gallon. And I was curious if either of you have noticed anything.
Not really. My truck's been running about the same as it normally is, which is to say terribly.
Yeah, I haven't noticed
I-
anything either yet.
Yeah, I haven't even really looked. I mean, it has seemed like my time between fill-ups has been much less, but I think that's mostly due to the just the sheer mileage of my commute got a little bit more, so
Yeah, so you're just
it's
using more gas.
kind of moot, yeah. I'm just going further every day instead of what I was, so
Yeah,
I'm kind of
so
curious though if that is a real thing though, if that's something that they're doing, because that would be kind of shitty.
yeah, it's just slowly raising or lowering gas mileage so that you buy more gas.
Yeah, it's like let's make gas, let's make you get less miles out of out of your tanks, and then charge more for the gas.
Yeah,
well, I mean, they've been adding ethanol to fuel for years now, like
No, yeah, I know, but
a
there's like
bunch
a
of
theory
years.
that they're adding more.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're watering it down basically.
as a person who again, like always, doesn't know anything about vehicles, um, there are the different grades of gasoline you can purchase, like the
hmm
unleaded, premium, and whatever the fuck. Do y'all know the exact difference between those? Like, what's different between them?
So the numbers on the pump, so between regular unlead, super unlead, and premium. Um, Super unlead is kind of a bullshit thing. Because if you ever look at the pump and just look at it, like regular gas is usually 86 or 87, premium is usually 92 or 93, and super unlead falls right between the two, right? So
Yeah,
you would think that the gas stations have three big tanks in there that have each of the unleaded fuels in them. No, they've got two tanks. They've got regular unlead and premium unlead, and super unlead is just a mixing valve in the gas pump that blends the two together.
so
Yeah,
you're getting
and
that
fun
nice
fact.
gasoline cocktail.
Well, fun fact, it's actually usually a higher rating than 89 anyways. So or
Yeah,
whatever it is, it's usually a higher
yeah,
rating than that.
yeah.
So best bang for your buck, I mean, is probably still gonna just be good 87 because or whatever the lowest one is if you drive
Yeah,
like an economy
Regular.
car
cheapest.
because there's no real difference in gasoline quality between octane ratings. The octane rating, really, just the higher the octane rating, the less likely it is or the more resistant it is to pre-detonation.
Yeah, so it's harder for the fuel to explode. And so the reason like high performance cars, cars with turbos, stuff like that have to run or are recommended to run premium fuel is because of the compression of the engine. So if you put regular fuel in a car with high compression, there's a chance it will pre-detonate, which just means it explodes before it's supposed to in the cylinder, which can cause major fucking issues,
Oh yeah.
tons of damage, super expensive bills because you either have to rebuild a head or replace cylinders or just straight replace the engine because the block cracked.
Yeah, it's not fun. So
Um,
definitely, if you have a vehicle that recommends 93, run 93 in it because it's bad time if you don't.
yeah. So, and it's not the biggest problem if you're just going around town or just driving down the highway. But if you ever like hard accelerate in your car, there's your chance that you're more likely to explode it because you spool the turbo up, force more air into more pressure into the combustion chamber, and there's your chance for pre-detonation. But a regular pickup, a regular fucking car, it's no benefit to burn higher octane fuel. It just costs you more money for the same result.
Right.
Because they can't take advantage of that higher octane rating. And so that's all those numbers are, is how hard it is to explode. And so if you were to look at diesel on an octane scale, it would be like 140 octane.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that.
Because because diesels don't have spark plugs. They combust off of sheer compression. And so if you ever look at the compression ratio on a diesel versus a gasoline, it's way, way higher.
Well, way
because
higher, yeah.
that's how diesels rely on combusting
Firing.
the fuel.
Yeah.
And the other crazy fact I know is jet fuel is closer to diesel than it is to gasoline.
Yeah.
But
Jet
what
fuel
its
is like
melting
100
point?
and not enough to melt steel beams.
Oh, okay. Well, about time we got a 9/11 joke in here. You know, it's 8 episodes in.
Damn it!
There was
It's like 120 octane, something like that, and then like racing fuel is usually 104 octane. But the whole ethanol thing, ethanol is just alcohol.
Yeah.
And the whole fight behind that, and I know there's several fuel stations in Lubbock that sell ethanol-free fuel, but it's normally 40 cents a gallon more, and they only sell it in 90 octane.
Sense. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already hating being over $3, so.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you're telling me my truck has been just eating fuel. Like, okay.
Yeah. Well,
no more than normal, but I mean that is normal for me.
Right, but you really start noticing it once the prices start going up.
Yeah, dude. Like I say, I'm really working towards getting a motorcycle because these gas prices are murder.
Man, you really should. Let me tell you, riding a motorcycle is great. But it's also when I drive most like an asshole.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, you kind of, it's, you know, every time you go under an underpass or you're coming out of a red light from a down a straightaway, you have to gut it. It's just the rules. Like you gotta open up that throttle and feel the breeze. All right.
It's just like driving a vehicle with a nice exhaust system. If you go through a tunnel, you gotta fucking throw her in neutral and womp womp.
Dude, back when I had the Golf, yeah.
Every time. Back when I drove my pickup all the time.
Right. I don't know why that's a thing. Like, why do we do that? Why do we just have this desire to just floor it?
Because we're men.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, I think. Just that toxic masculinity, dude.
Of just wanting to gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Guy stuff.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta murder people and go fast. That's the two things men do, right?
Be miserable and change absolutely nothing. Be a man.
Well, because I would say that when I'm driving my truck, I'm a very cautious driver, and I do speed because who doesn't?
Facts.
But it's never like anything insane, and I'm just I'm following the rules. I'm avoiding people, doing all this stuff. The second I get on my motorcycle, like I still have the defensive part of it just because I'm watching all the idiots around me. But I am, cutting between cars and gunning it down the open lanes, and
I actually have like a good theory on that too.
Same.
I think it's a good offensive, or a good offense is a good defense kind of like thought process, right? Like driving aggressively to get away from the idiots is you driving defensively. Like that's how I drive. Like I drive to get away from people. I hate it whenever people are even near me.
Yeah.
So my whole thing of why you drive more like an idiot on your motorcycle is, so in your truck, A typical pickup weighs anywhere from 5 to 7,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So if you get in an accident, it's more likely that somebody else is going to die instead of you.
Ooh, that's actually fucking
If
big
you're
brain, dude.
if you're on a motorcycle, the only person that's going to die in that accident is you.
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
So if you're in your pickup, you're looking out for other lives. If you're on your motorcycle, you only have to look out for your life, unless you're around a bunch of pedestrians. But that's not a huge thing here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, I guess I could see that, but it's also like,
but also on a motorcycle, you're in the open air. It's a whole different.
yeah,
It's
like
a different thing.
experience.
It's a whole vibe, dude.
Well, it
Yeah.
really is, because like you'll most of the time when I'm on a motorcycle, and it's probably because the speedometer is on the gas tank. So to see the speedometer, you have to actually like look like down, like away
Yeah.
from what you're looking at, and so I usually just follow traffic. I never look at the speedometer. I just stick with everyone else. But it always end up I'll look down and I'm going like 20 over the speed limit, and I'm like, ah, shit.
We do live in Texas. That is just the traffic, dude.
Kind
Yeah.
of honestly, man. Texas drivers are not
But it's
great.
also the
They're
super
maniacs.
interesting fact that Texas has the highest average speed limit in the world.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
but
wow.
if you think about it, we also have big, open, straight highways
Well,
for the
yeah.
most part.
But yeah, we have the highest average speed limit in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Which is still not fast enough.
because you would ask people, you're like, hey, what place has the highest average speed limit? And most of them will say Germany because the
right,
Autobahn,
Autobahn.
Yeah.
which actually the Autobahn brings Germany's average speed limit down because the Autobahn doesn't have a speed limit.
Yeah, I was about to say, so you can't really
Oh,
count
dude.
it, yeah.
So it doesn't count for anything.
Fuck Germans.
So it doesn't add to the average speed limit versus
How's it
Texas,
feel to lose
where
again, Germany?
Yeah,
where
dude.
most of
Round
our
number
highways
2,
are
3, 4.
yeah. Like Texas, most of our highways are 75. We also have the highest like legal speed limit
Yeah, isn't it like
in
85?
90 between
Yeah.
Pecos and Odessa.
Yeah,
Oh, is it really 90 out there?
it's
Yeah,
great.
it's
man.
90.
I've driven through there before, and I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
Well,
it's
it's like-
90 because there's absolutely nothing there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
It is just
dick all.
a 4-lane highway, just 2 lanes either way with nothing else. There's no towns. It's just desert.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they're
the
like,
towns that
"Wait,
are out
let
there.
them run 90.
Yeah.
The towns
So
that
you
are
gun
out
it.
there are fucking tiny too.
Oh yeah,
Like they're nothing towns.
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
you know,
even
I
like
always found that
around.
super interesting.
Yeah, because even like around here, the speed limit on the highways is 75. But if you're not
Yeah.
going 80 or 85, you're the slowest one on the highway.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's just understood that everyone goes fast. Even the truckers who struggle to get up to that speed still are just gunning it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Fuck it, we got places to be. Goddammit.
I mean, do
I
we
ain't trying to wait on your slow ass,
though?
bro. It bugs the piss out of me whenever somebody's just chilling in the left-hand lane. I will get right up on their ass and turn on my high beams. I don't give a fuck.
Get
Yeah.
out of my
I'm
way,
that guy.
Grandma.
Well, you're in the fucking left-hand lane. It's not fucking rocket science. Move, dumbass. Get your head out of your ass and get the fuck out of the way.
Well, even like I don't know about most other states, but here there's a road sign like it feels like every mile almost that says left lane for passing only. Just
Yeah.
as you're just going down the road, and nobody
No, dude, some
reads it.
motherfucker will have their cruise control set at like 5 miles below the speed limit, just chill in the left-hand lane, and I will get right up on them. I've passed people on the shoulder multiple times too. I don't give a fuck.
Fuck you.
That shit pisses me off beyond like even understanding.
Damn.
I'm like, you
It's-
you can't be that stupid.
It was way worse when I drove my pickup.
Oh, dude, this was in
You
like the
remember-
fucking Wrangler. Like I've done this shit in the Wrangler, and it's not fast.
You remember me in my pickup.
Oh yeah, dude. I
He's a
drive just like
fucking-
that, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Like a fucking maniac. I mean, only whenever I'm pissed though. Like if
Oh,
somebody's
yeah.
like doing some stupid shit, then I'm like, okay, all right, get the fuck out of here, go on, and then I try and like scare them, get them to go away, or piss them off. I don't give a shit.
Right. Well, like, do y'all do the thing? Because I do this a lot, and it's probably just a me thing.
Yes, I do
Where
the thing.
you do the thing. We all, some of us do the thing, some of us don't. But
I do things.
I do the things. But where you're, so like you'll be driving, right? And somebody will do something stupid, or at least you think that they're doing something stupid. And then, so you'll like cut around them. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, freaking idiot. And then you realize that it's actually the person in front of them that's acting like an idiot, and they're just trying to avoid them. And so then, like, sitting in my car, I go, I apologize, sir. That was, that wasn't okay. You were doing
I
the right
don't
thing. I'm sorry.
apologize.
But then I get angry at the
See,
person in front of them.
I have a thing where I'll check for that. I'll check to see if there's somebody in front of them, because then that's valid, right? You can't do anything about that.
Yeah, right. Like they're just
Like I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the dumb fuck in front of you.
so I have that bad habit of getting really pissed off at just the person in front of me, and then I'll pass them and I'll see the next person. I don't apologize at that other guy. My rage just transfers.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's not
Just-
you, it's you.
I'm like, oh, it's not that guy. It's this fucking dumb bitch.
Yeah. No, there's like a brief second where I like whip out my monocle and my top hat. I'm like, I'm sorry, good sir. You were
Ooh,
just driving around.
This is a perfect transition to another topic I wanted to like kind of bring you guys in on and like let y'all know that it happened, kind of thing.
Okay.
Speaking of road rage, it's a dude who's like associated with the UFC MMA community. I don't know if he's a fighter or an ex-fighter or what have you, but his name is Cain Velasquez, and he just got arrested for shooting at a car with 3 people in it. Now, the reason he was shooting at these people was because one of the people in the vehicle is suspected to have sexually molested his daughter. Now, I if I had a child and some guy sexually molested them, I'd put them in the dirt. I'm not even no thought about it. I would fucking murder that person.
Yeah.
Because there's no excuse for that bullshit. But the fact that there were 2 other people in the car, and he did hit one of them, who happened to be the guy who molested his daughter's stepdad. He did hit him, which I'm kind of like that. That's kind of fucked.
Yeah, like an uninvolved person.
Right,
Some
like
could
he
say.
can't control the actions of his stepson, and it's not even his like blood son.
See, but that's where I would kind of because you could take this, with like any moral.
Well, who
debate.
knows if he raised him or if his original? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know the involvement of the stepdad, so I kind of don't agree there, right? Like, if you're mad at one person, be mad at that one person. Don't take it out on the people around them.
Yeah, like you shouldn't involve anyone unless you have proof that they were involved, right? Like it's the whole innocent until proven guilty thing. Like the stepdad may have, beat him when he was a kid and that fucked him up or something, but you don't know that, so if you're gonna kill somebody.
Well, even if his stepdad had, I mean, that's no excuse to molest a child.
Well, yeah. But I'm not saying that that's any of it's excusable. I'm just saying that involving the stepdad in it, like putting him in the line of danger with the shooting, would be, you could justify it more if he was involved in some way with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, but it's one of those things, right? I totally agree, like with him shooting at wanting to kill the guy that did that. Totally down with that. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I mean, fuck child molesters, dude. Every one of them can die.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, because there's no reason for it, and there's no
no fucking jail time, none of that bullshit. I mean, unless you want to throw him in jail with a man rapist and just let that dude go to fucking town on him, give him a taste of his own medicine. But
right. Well, because then you get into the argument of, is it better? Do you think it's better for them to suffer while alive and keep them alive so that they do suffer, or to just put them out of their misery?
It make them suffer a lot, and then kill them.
Yeah, slowly.
interesting. I mean, I'd probably be right there with you on it. So, but that,
But right
so,
now, to real quick, right now Kane is under arrest, and so far nothing is like happening that I'm aware of with that. But he has the like entire MMA community behind him, like
yeah,
rallying behind him, being like "Free Kane," all this happy shit, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool to see. But at the same time, I'm kind of like his arrest is somewhat justifiable because he did shoot from a moving vehicle at another moving vehicle
right. Like
and did
he's
injure a
endangered
third
people.
party that wasn't like directly involved kind of deal. So I'm like, I feel like his rage is justified, but the way he acted on it in that moment wasn't exactly the best choice,
Yeah,
right?
the
Like,
method was not
well,
not ideal.
see, like if it were me, I already know who the guy is. I know where like he works and all that happy shit. I'm just gonna wait till he's alone and fucking take him out whenever he's by himself. Just make sure I'm not endangering other people's lives, kind of deal.
Hmm.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, if
Well,
you're
but
gonna
see,
take
then you
revenge, like,
you kind
go
of
ahead.
start getting into if you want to justify like vigilante justice, because in the most part, most of those situations you can justify them, right? Like with this one, you're like, yeah, that dude was molesting his daughter. Fuck that guy. But it's like once you start allowing people to go out and handle things how they see fit, then it starts becoming like a dangerous scenario.
Right. I totally understand that. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will say, like, even if it was illegal, I don't give a shit. I would probably break the law
Right?
to kill the guy who molested my child
Yeah. Well, it's
if I
like one
had
of those
one.
things where um, I would probably do it too, but I would also come to terms with the fact that afterwards I will probably go to jail or something. Like,
Oh yeah,
probably
for
see some
sure.
repercussions for it, but I'm fine with that. Like, that's beats the alternative of this dude just getting away with it.
Yeah, just
Right, or just
walking
going to jail and
free.
then getting fucking released like a little while later. Fuck that shit. Put that
Yeah.
motherfucker in the ground.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. And
because there's nothing more precious than a child's innocence to me.
Yeah.
And nobody should be able to take that.
I
So,
totally agree.
like, crimes against children should be handled much more severely in any fucking case, whether it be child abuse, rape, molestation, whatever it may be. Those cases should be treated with much heavier circumstance.
hmm
Definitely. Because I mean, also a child has no way of protecting themselves
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
against a fully grown adult.
Yeah. They've at a disadvantage in every way possible.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
at the mercy of adults. I mean, every child is at the mercy of adults, unless I mean that kid's strapped. Then maybe it might be a little different. But I
Well,
just
but
don't
even
understand that.
then,
Like who wants to molest a child? You have to be really fucked up in the head to like want to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
people are messed up. It's not a great time out in the world for some people.
It isn't.
I don't know. This
But
is
one
one of
of the
those that always I feel like it's really hard to trying to say it's hard to justify, arresting the person who was taking revenge.
well, I think so. Granted, totally think killing people is wrong, right? And it's kind of contradicting what I've said already. But I think if maybe there was more, like Brandon said, there was more like harsh punishment for this kind of thing. Like if they got arrested, it was an immediate death penalty if it was molestation or child rape or something like that,
Mhm.
right? Like then, yeah, then if that was the case, then you don't have an excuse to go and find them and kill them yourself because you can just have them be arrested, tried, and if they're found guilty, then they'll just die anyways. And that's the main thing for me, right? I don't want that person to have the possibility, like even the slightest chance of doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at that point, if they just get away with it, what's the repercussion of them doing it again?
Right. They're just gonna be like, oh, I got away with it the first time. I'm just gonna do it again
Yeah. Well,
because I can get away
so
with it.
let me ask you this: uh, do you think it's possible for like something like a child molester for it to be caused by some kind of, trauma, whatever the fuck, they do get it, they do it, they get arrested, they get punished for this, do you think it would be possible for that person to then turn around and become a better person after the fact, or they shouldn't even have the chance?
I mean, I'm like, I want to say they shouldn't be able to even have the chance, but that's kind of a slippery slope, right? Like, because I mean, there's so many shitty people out in the world who will act like they've changed, and then will just
Yeah, just
continuously
fall
will be
back into
doing
it.
it in the background and just not be getting caught because they're smarter now.
Yeah.
Right? They know how
Yeah.
not to get caught.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we
Right.
can't just go out fucking annexing people, but I mean, if you're fucking kids, I mean, yeah, that's kind of a really good reason to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always want to go, like, I think they absolutely 100% deserve to be punished for what they're doing. Now, to the extent of the punishment, it varies, depending on what they were doing
Yeah, right.
and
Like if
all
you
this
beat
stuff,
up a
right?
kid, I mean, I feel like you
Yeah, the little
smacked a
fucker
kid in the
deserved it.
face or something, right? I mean, that's different. Like it
Kind of
just depends on the
sidebar, but
extent, right?
man, there are some kids that just need to get punched in the face, all right? Like,
Facts, dude. Some
like
kids are little
they
assholes.
just need to get one good punch in the face because, God, they're the worst children ever.
That's just the parent. I think the parents need a punch in the face.
That's more fitting because it's not so that's the slippery slope of that situation is like, yes, these kids are assholes, yes, they're shitheads, but kids don't know any better.
Well,
It's
they're a product of their
yeah,
upbringing.
it's the parents that are supposed to know better. So given that they're assholes, that means the parents are neglecting them or the parents are mistreating them or they just see how their parents act and imitate that. So
Right,
there's
like their
no
parents are
e-
assholes around each other and to other people, so they just do that to other people because that's what they think is how
like
people act.
granted when kids start growing up, so 13, 14, whatever, they need to start learning there's consequences to their actions. But if they grew up in this environment where there's no consequences, it's never going to stick with them
Hmm.
because it's never going to be like, oh, I did this and they got me in trouble. It's I did this and why the hell did they get me in trouble? Because I don't get in trouble at home. My parents don't discipline me. My parents don't do this. So that's all they know.
Hmm.
So it's something that has to be instilled from a much younger age that you can't just get away with whatever you want. There's repercussions to actions. And if you wait until they're 14, 15, 16 to start enacting that, it's never going to stick. It's just going to make
No.
shithead kids that rebel and never get better.
Yep.
And, I think every parent does have the ability to reprimand or show that there are repercussions in their own way, right? Like I think spanking is fine, so long as it's not excessive and not in an abusive way, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're just using your hand to spank someone, not like using a tool or whatever. I mean, it depends per person, and really, I mean, you can tell if a child is being abused.
Yeah.
Not always.
Physically, I mean.
Hey, even then, man,
Like,
still not always. There are some people that are very good at hiding it, right? Like there's the joke of putting a pillow over them, or so they don't leave bruises, or just punching them where they can be covered with a shirt. Like people
sure,
legitimately do that stuff.
sure.
True.
But there's also like there is definitely an aspect of like the parents are responsible for how the kid turns out, but it's also like a bigger thing, like their whole environment with like their school, their friends, and all that. Because I knew some kids who had the worst parents ever, like beat them, alcoholics, meth heads, all stole money from them, all this shit. and the kids turned out to be just like phenomenal people.
And you have that too. You have cases like that. It's really interesting how different people respond to having troubled pasts than others.
Right? Like there's almost
Like,
like they see their parents doing that and they're like, all right, well, I'm not gonna do that, right? Like I'm gonna
yeah.
be better than them, and they can
Mhm.
just suck it and and burn in hell while I'm pimping up here with Jesus.
Yeah, I guess it's that realization that it's not you, it's them kind of deal. Because a lot of people who are victims of abuse will blame themselves, which is really tragic.
Yeah, just that whole situation, which I'm very lucky to never have experienced firsthand. Um,
Same.
it just seems like an awful situation, and I feel so bad for all those people.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's why I like, you know, I think that there should be. It's I don't know. It's a weird thing to try and like solve. Like, it's a weird problem to solve
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's so complex. Like it's not just cut and dry. Like here's the issue, here's the fix. You
right.
know.
It's always there's always, oh well, yeah, we only beat him once, and it was, he just got fired, and his girlfriend just dumped him or something, so he was just angry and he just lashed out that one time.
It's like back in the 50s whenever dads used to come home and beat their wives because they had a bad day at work.
Right?
And it's
And
like,
they're
well,
just like,
he just had a bad day at
just had
work,
a
honey.
bad
It's
day.
okay. It's like, what?
Well,
Yeah,
even to like,
no.
because I don't think there's no excuse for that. That should never be okay, ever.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think there's any excuse for violence really, unless it's through self-defense
Yeah.
or there are cases. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. Go ahead, Jeremy.
But I was gonna say, like, even taking the stakes down, people with their pets. Like, there's some people that like, so we had an instance with an old roommate where he left some food on the table for like 30 minutes, just left it there while he went to go do something. Came back to find that his dog had eaten it. I'm like, yeah, dude, you left it on the table. He's a dog. He's gonna eat the food.
I was gonna say,
But
yeah, no shit,
but the
dumbass.
way he handled it was just immediately starts like hitting him, screaming at him, puts him in this kennel, leaves him there for like a day. I mean, still feeds him and all that. Borderline animal abuse, right? And I
Yeah.
just don't get, like, even that. I mean, I guess it's just, how I am as a person. Like, animals and small children, they don't fucking know what they're doing. They're stupid, all right? Like,
Mhm.
they eat something you left out. You left it out.
Which a lot of people won't even be violent normally. Like they're not normally violent people, but then they get mad and then it's just a reactionary reflex to just like take it out on something,
Right?
which is like a deeper problem there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just looking for somewhere to lash out at.
It's a lot of the mental health assistance in the US just needs to be greater.
Just existent in some places.
Yeah.
It's bad. Because I know, I had a friend growing up, and like I've said before, I was very involved in the church. So we had a pretty close like group of friends in our youth group, and so we had a friend, like we were having a 7 a.m. Bible study in our church before school one time, and we got totally off topic, and we're talking about um, just how much life sucks. And a friend like basically admitted to us that he's like, yeah, my dad beats me sometimes. And he's like, yeah, but
Odd.
he's struggling and he's got money and all this. And all of us were like, nah, dude, like, fuck
You're
him.
like, fuck that. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
fuck him. And then so like we had all of our friends were like, hey man, like, you need to come sleep over at our house. There's 6 of us. You can alternate. It'll be awesome. We'll all party. We'll set up a fucking bed for you in the church if you need it. Like, we'll
Hell
fucking
yeah.
help you. But some people, I knew some from another church over whose dad was the preacher and was beating his kids. And he tried to come out to like one of the other church people for him, but they basically like
Battled
gaslit
on
him.
him.
Yeah, like, well, not really, but like gaslit him into, oh no, it's fine. your dad is a holy man. He's just doing the will of God. And I'm so
God. That's
like
why
just
No.
religious people are like insane sometimes to
dude,
me.
they are. And so just like the differences you can get from like 40 minutes apart in just two separate towns that are very similar to
Mhm.
each other, right?
It's
Yeah.
insane. Well,
But
to change
there's
it to a lighter topic, just to get off this, because it's starting to get a little heavy. Um, how what do you guys think about Elden Ring? Because I've noticed like
Ugh,
every motherfucker's playing that
I love
shit,
it.
and it's super popular right now. And a lot of people are saying or pointing out the fact that it has, guess what? No microtransactions.
Yeah.
holy shit.
It's probably
Oh,
gonna get. I wouldn't be surprised if it got Game of the Year this year.
I wouldn't either. I don't know if y'all been playing it, but I have been playing it.
I
Um,
haven't, but I've been watching
it
gameplay on it.
is phenomenal. It's
It
very
looks great.
good if you like Dark Souls game because it is just a Dark Souls game, honestly. Like they've changed some stuff, they added a bunch of things. It's
You
better
can
in most
you can
regards.
just like straight up jump now.
Yeah, you can jump, you can double jump on your horse,
I saw that, dude.
which you
I'm
can
like,
just summon
what?
anywhere. Well, not anywhere, but most places. And
Pretty cool.
I've been really enjoying it, but I think they've added a lot of small things to it that make it different enough from other Souls games. So like one of the big things is that it's an open world game, right? Which it is. It's just a
Hmm.
big map you explore. There's little like caves and dungeons and ruins you go into. But since it's open world, you can like approach from any direction you want towards these things. So I found myself actually like stealthing through encampments because you can like do backstabs that'll just kill anybody instantly if you sneak up on them. So in a
Yeah,
Dark Souls game, I'm fucking going Breath of the Wild and just sneaking through the camps, like,
it's
which is
awesome.
very interesting.
I
I was
have no
very
input.
very surprised though, like that it was so popular.
Yeah, well, I also think it has been hyped up for a really long time.
Yeah, but you
Uh,
know what? That look at Cyberpunk. Look what happened to it, and it was
yeah,
hyped up for a
well,
long time.
yeah, but like it was hyped up for a long time and then it delivered. Like they never overpromised on it. It was
True.
like honestly a lot of it was in the dark. Like they didn't really tell you much about it, but everyone was like, "Oh, it's from Soft. It's a Dark Souls game. Like it's going to be solid." And it was. So all the hype just made it better.
I'm just saying, everybody thought the same thing with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. They're like, "Oh, it's CD Projekt Red. They always make good shit." And then Cyberpunk came out, and everybody was severely disappointed.
Yeah. Like
They
if
went and
they
fucked it real good.
right, like if they had beansed it, if they had fucked it up somehow on Elden Ring, I think people would be furious. Like
Oh yeah.
it pays off because they landed it, but if they hadn't landed it, it would have gone really bad.
Well, it's nice because they stuck to their formula, and plus, it's just nice to see a game that isn't the same fucking microtransaction hellhole actually doing well and being like almost every streamer that I watch is playing it.
Yeah. Which is always, people try to say like, "Oh, single player games are dying." Like no, they're not. They, I
No, they're
think
not.
Elden Ring is the second highest game that's not a FIFA game since Red Dead, which are both open world first or single player games, right? And they're
Yeah,
two of the most successful games at this point.
and
So
what's also go ahead.
I didn't really have anything else.
What's neat or what I've been thinking about is like what's like these other single player game people gonna do now. Like that Elden Ring's come out, no micro like Bethesda is the one I'm mainly considering because Bethesda just had their big fuck up with Fallout 76,
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
that was like microtransactions, very underdelivered, wasn't a full game like on release, and everything that everybody hates about the current gaming market.
yeah,
So I'm kind of curious what their stance and how they're going to react, like with what they're coming out with is going to be like. Will this like have will Elden Ring have an effect on the gaming world as we know it? Right? Like, will it change the way developers are developing now,
yeah. They'll
or
like,
mainly like the companies are selling their products?
yeah. Well, I think it will, but I think we've already been kind of seeing that transition, right? Like, because like I was saying with Red Dead 2, that game sold so well, and they did spend a lot of money on it, but like it showed a bunch of developers that people want these huge first person games, and even without microtransactions in the single player, because they're still in the online mode, the game still will kill at the box office. Box office.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
not the
As
right word.
long as it's a good game, for like come out with good, fully finished games.
Yeah. Well, so
Mhm.
let me. What's y'all's opinions on microtransactions, just in general?
Well, okay, so if it's purely cosmetic, no problem with it. But if it's actually like, pay to win, hate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of on the same thing. So I have a, I guess, a hot take, yeah. But I think microtransactions are all right. I'm never gonna buy them. I'm not. If they're cosmetic, go for it. Even if they're not cosmetic, it just kind of depends. Most games that sell microtransactions that do actually affect gameplay, like, you'll get a new gun or something, but there's 40 other different guns that you might like better that you get for free, so it doesn't really make a difference. But I just
Right,
think
yeah.
that giving that extra revenue stream to developers helps them in a lot of ways.
See, and I agree with that. That's why I say it's okay as long as it's cosmetic. But, it's one of those things for people. If you want to spend the money to make the game easier, go ahead, I kind of think. But I don't want there to be like paywalls and shit.
Yeah. Well, because that, like, Brandon, RuneScape,
Yes.
they had a whole, like, more than half of the map that you couldn't even go into unless you're a paid member, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so RuneScape's been
But
doing that for years.
so
Ooh, he's been caught.
no. So here's the thing about that. I This is coming from a place of I used to pay for membership. Cool. Yeah.
What a
It's
virgin.
not and they have released microtransactions into it. You can buy armor sets, you can buy currency packs, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about that. The membership in itself. It's a free to play game. It never had ads. Never had ads on it
Yeah.
because of the membership program.
Yeah.
So the people that paid to play the game funded the people that didn't pay to play the game.
Yeah. And
So
that's kind of like my whole argument with just microtransaction in general, is that the people that want to spend extra money on the game, let them do it. I'm not going to, but now that company has more money to give you more content.
yeah, but also like microtransactions in big AAA games now are dumb.
Yeah.
It's armor sets, it's this and that. So I don't see RuneScape's membership as microtransaction because you pay the same amount every month and the amount of content it unlocks is justifiable for that membership, for
Do
Yeah.
that
you
fee.
think do you think though that it kind of in a way splits up the player base? Because like what if you want to play with a buddy and he doesn't want to get the membership, but you want to play in the area of the map that you have to have the membership in?
Well, I mean, yeah, it splits the player base, but it's what I mean, like, yeah, a situation like that sucks, but if, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, arguably it does split the player base to a point of, well, these players can't get there, but it's to give incentive for people to pay to get there. So, like, yeah, it's a money making scheme, but I always viewed it as worth it because you're unlocking like 2/3 of the game for this little bit amount of month.
Yeah. It's more like,
It's not oh, I'm paying to get this cool skin. It's I'm paying to get hundreds of hours more content.
Well, it's like WoW, right? WoW has their subscription WoW is a subscription service still, right?
Yeah.
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 So you have to pay monthly to play WoW.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't
I'm
actually
pretty
know anymore.
sure.
I think they kind of have. I think they have a free version,
Mhm.
kind of like RuneScape, where you get access to some of it. I don't know for sure. I've never
But
played
for the
WoW.
longest time, though, WoW, you had to pay monthly to play it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just kind of an MMO thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? Like
Well,
the
it is
MMOs have been
almost.
doing that for a long time.
It's almost like in that situation where with RuneScape, it's more like the free part is a demo, but it's a demo that has a lot of content in it. You can still do most of the stuff, but if you
Yeah,
want the big all, you want all of it, then you buy the game.
Right.
yeah. The like the majority of the game, like, yeah, there's quite a bit that unlocks the membership, but it's still an enjoyable experience
Yeah.
without membership.
Yeah,
There's still
absolutely.
Right.
plenty of stuff to do without membership. So it's not an absolute necessity to play the game with membership. It unlocks a lot of cool, fun things,
Yeah.
but you can still have a good time in it without that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where I'm at on that. Like, I don't like the current state of microtransactions because it's like, take GTA for example. They don't have like, oh, you can buy this car for 10 real bucks. It's you can buy money in the game to pay for whatever.
Right. There's always that
But
currency exchange, which is really fucking annoying.
yeah, you're paying real money for fake money
Yeah.
for a game. But it's kept GTA 5 going for how many fucking years
I
now?
think
But that could also be
13?
seen as somewhat of a negative, right? Because it has kept this old archaic game going,
Well,
right? Instead of them making a new one, they've
but
just continuously recycled this one.
that's true, right? Like they're milking this one, but it also
Mhm.
gave them the ability and the financial stability to spend 10 years making Red Dead 2, which is a fun, just all around gorgeous game, took forever to make. They polished it to no end because they weren't worried about getting the money for a release date,
Very true.
That's fair.
right? So it kind of goes back to if there are people that want to spend their money on GTA 5 to get the new triple barreled tank that can lock onto jets, let them do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. Everybody's different. Everybody's opinion on it's different, but mine falls into microtransactions are dumb. I don't like them. Fuck them.
Well, and it's a kind of an interesting thing too, because FromSoft has been able to put out really quality games over and over and over again without using microtransactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So why can't other developers do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so, but I feel like it's, different environments because FromSoft has always just had, since they've just released good game after good game after good game, they aren't being forced by their publishers to release stuff because their publishers know that when they release something, it's going to be good, so we should just give them the time they want.
True.
All the money and all the time.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yeah, but then you get like the smaller devs that they may be working on a new project or a new title, so no one really knows if it's going to be good or not. So now their publishers are looking at them like, all right, you can still make this game, but you got to have it done like in a month.
And it better be awesome.
Right, because you're not bringing us any money at the moment, so you got to do something.
Yeah.
Impatience and greed.
Yeah. Well, so let me throw this one at you, Brandon. Do you think that subscription games should be subscriptions, or should they just be like a paid game?
Hey. That I mean,
Great
that's
response.
a good. Well, it's a good question. I mean,
That is a good question.
it's one of those things of like, yes, I would rather pay up front for a game. And not have to worry about paying anything else the rest of the time I own the game. But I don't know. I really don't know. I mean,
I don't know, right? Because like in my opinion, looking at WoW and like the fact that it was a subscription or is still a subscription service kind of thing, I don't think WoW is like for the amount of money they get, I don't feel like it's that good of a game.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I guess
that's probably gonna piss a lot of people off. But I'd really for the amount of money that they obtain from all of the people who play it and spend money on it actively, I don't
Yeah.
understand how the graphic quality of it is so ass and like just I don't know. It just seems like it really isn't worth the money. Kind of. I
Yeah,
mean, it
well,
depends
and
on who you are.
there are people that have been playing WoW for 20 years and they've been paying a monthly subscription on it that entire time. They've given them thousands of dollars. And I think with WoW, don't you also have to buy the expansions?
Yeah, yeah, you do.
Yeah. So like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, where's all
insane.
this money going? Like, if they're getting all this revenue from all this stuff, like, why is the game like? WoW isn't that great in my opinion. I think a lot of people really like it because it is a good MMO, but like as far as a video game goes, it's really not that good in my opinion.
So games like WoW, where you buy the game, you buy any expansion you want, but you also have to pay to play it, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a thing.
Well,
I
it's a
should be able to
paywall.
buy the game and play the game.
That's why I never
should be
played
able to
WoW.
buy a DLC and play a DLC.
And it may be different now. Like it may not be a subscription service anymore. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But whenever it
But
was, even still, I'm like, this game's been out. This is like an old game that's been out for a long fucking time. Why does it look like shit?
Right? Yeah.
but like uh, 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 so that's where RuneScape and WoW differ, because RuneScape, you can play it completely free. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to buy the game to play it. You can download a damn app on your computer, hit launch, and play the game.
And from my experience playing it recently, I mean, you can still grind to max level and basically play the whole game.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean,
that is like the whole game is like grinding to get max level on basically everything. So
and there is a paywall to get the other features, but it's not a necessity to play the game. You can play the game without it. WoW. Oh, I went and bought this $60 game. You fucking install it and launch it. We need your credit card info for $20 a month to play our game. What the fuck is that?
Like what?
That's some fucking bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should be a disclaimer. Like, by the way, like whenever you buy it, the person at the counter should be like, by the way, if you're gonna buy this game, you have to pay a subscription to play it.
Yeah,
you'd be like, oh, what?
No.
Yeah. You'd put it back and fucking walk away.
Yeah, put it back and grab Call of Duty.
Yeah. Grab something you don't have to pay every month to play a damn game.
Yeah. And I don't really.
You already paid for. That's what bothers me.
Yeah,
it's not that you gotta pay to play it because I've paid to play RuneScape. It's that you buy it and then you pay to play it.
I think we're really about to hit like a golden age of the single player game.
Yeah.
I think we're about to get into that era because Bethesda just got bought by Microsoft, so they're going to essentially have like a budget and a half, dude.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, I mean, I've been getting way more into single player games now because I think people are starting to get burnt out on the multiplayer thing. Because everything has become so fucking sweaty in multiplayer. I'm not saying multiplayer is gonna die. I think multiplayer games are still gonna strive immensely like they have been. But I think the single player games are about to get awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more of there's always been really good multiplayer and single player games, but let me make y'all sad real quick. I think we're just aging out of multiplayer games. I think multiplayer games are for kids, and not to be mean about it, like, oh, those stupid kids, but like they're made if you have a ton of time, you have 10 other
Mm-hmm.
friends that also have a ton of time, so you get home from school and all you do is play COD together.
Well,
Whereas
like
for
I'm still.
adults, you just don't
Go ahead.
have that much time, so you want a game that you can play a little bit and then go a week without touching it, play a little bit more, and you're not getting just absolutely dunked on by all these stupid little kids that are better than you.
Well, I'm still pretty good at first-person shooters too. It's not like I'm bad, right? Like, I mean, there are definitely always people that are way worse than me whenever I play in these games. But it's just like the level that everybody else is at nowadays is just insane. Because back whenever we were growing up, I mean, video games were like just starting to like be a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we were the generation of the start of like online gaming,
Yeah.
like serious online gaming. Because there's always
Yeah.
been like you had online gaming with the PS2 and shit, but I mean that was us. That was our generation. We were the kids that were initiated into online gaming.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's just reaching a level that may be beyond us, as since we're at an age now where we do have to have full-time jobs and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I do think that video
But that's a
games in
whole.
general,
Go ahead.
just video games in general, have only been improving. Like, even trash video games are still leagues above anything we had, back in the day.
Oh,
Um,
100%. Yeah, I agree.
and it's just like, even who, what was it? Someone was arguing, I think, about the Horizon game, Forbidden West. I think they were just complaining about it, and they were like, "Oh, this game sucks. It's the worst game ever." And I'm like, dude, did you play games like even 15 years ago? Like,
Right. Go back and play Borderlands 1 and tell me
yeah,
that
it
again.
is bad.
Dude,
But
it's
then
so bad.
Borderlands 2 is so good.
Dude, Borderlands 2 is the pinnacle. But what I was gonna say is that we have a whole generation of gamers who are now becoming dads and moms and fucking getting full-time jobs and such, to where you're gonna have a whole generation of gamers that are really gonna start craving single-player games. So
Mhm.
I think there's about to be a fucking surge, dude. I hope there's just a
Big
surge
games.
of awesome single-player games,
Yeah,
because that
I
would be great.
I just feel like, so, like, if you go back to Bethesda, right? You're saying since they got purchased by Microsoft, they're gonna have so much money. But I think Microsoft bought them for the series they have running, right?
Oh
Like, they
yeah,
bought them for Fallout and Elder
yeah.
Scrolls, and
And I'm
so
not saying like new IPs or anything. I'm just saying they'll have way higher budgets now for their current IPs,
yeah,
which I'm super hyped for. Like I don't want new games. I want the current games, but better.
Better. Yeah.
yeah, fair enough, I guess.
So Nick wants them current games to become more technologically advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
actually, dude.
but
Holy shit.
Brandon, all right,
I want to
that's
die.
very shallow of you, okay? Because games can be good on poor technology, all right? Very shallow of you. I need you to rethink your statements. Um, but right, because like the game doesn't have to be some masterpiece to be a good game.
Totally agree. Yeah.
So
Fucking Factorio.
yeah,
Prime example.
Factorio,
I'm
great
playing
game.
Power Washing Simulator right now.
For fuck's sake.
I
Yeah.
I've always wanted, so there's like always real bad like crunch and overtime and all this stuff in the gaming community or the development community. I've always wanted to like go up to someone that wasted the last five, not wasted, but spent the last 5 years of their life not seeing their family, not going home, sleeping in their office, working on Red Dead 2, and going up to them and be like, "Man, this game, Red Dead 2, really great.
Trash.
I'm gonna play Power Washing Simulator instead."
I have Red Dead 2 and still
Yeah.
haven't finished it too. But I've finished every single fucking power washing simulator level until they came out with these new ones. Like I'm addicted to this shit, dude. It's insane.
Right? Just
And it's
something
such a
about it.
like dumb game too. Like it is a seriously like it's a good game, but it's one of the, it's like you said, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece to be a good game.
Yeah.
So
It has to be something you can enjoy.
I mean, look at how Binding of Isaac started out, dude.
Yeah. It's a great game.
And now where it's at. That game has had a hell of a legacy.
Mm-hmm. Well, even like small indie games, right? That may only last you 2 or 3 hours to beat the whole game, and all it is running from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen until you get to the boss, and then it's running to the left. Mind blown. Like those games aren't any huge advancement, but some of my favorite games of all time are like that. It's more of a story than it is about, being able to craft fire arrows.
And I think a lot of that is too just like a fresh take on like a game, like indie developers usually have like they have to get recognized and to have their games do really well, they have to be kind of different, so you or just do something that's already been done like really well and in
Yeah.
a creative way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel very blessed as a grown white man that I now have money and time to just enjoy the golden age of games that we're in.
Yeah, dude, honestly, it's
Yeah.
been pretty great.
And I feel sorry for people whose parents don't like video games still, because it sucks to be stuck in the Stone Age.
Yep.
Well, so
That's
let me
too
ask y'all
nasty.
this. When y'all were
Okay.
growing up, were y'all's parents, or, well, one, were y'all big gamers? And two, was it frowned upon?
Yes and yes.
Brandon?
Yes, and sort of.
Your parents were not nearly as bad as mine. Like
Oh
my
no, no,
stepmom and my dad. My
absolutely
stepmom was
not.
probably the worst about it.
Yeah.
She was like, I'd be in my room playing video games like on the weekend, having nothing else to do, and she would tell me to go outside and mow because I need to stop playing video games. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Right,
okay, I
because I
guess.
remember mine were always, you should be doing something productive and
Yeah,
not
exactly.
wasting your time on stupid video games where you have to be productive all the time.
Well, it's funny because with my stepmom and my dad not being very supportive of the video games, you know, it only made me want to play them more.
Yeah.
Because it's like that forbidden fruit. So like anytime I got to play them, since they were like a restricted thing, oh dude, it was just awesome. I was like, oh yes, thank God I get to fucking play video games today. My parents aren't here.
And you're like, this is phenomenal. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean mine were like they would rather me be doing something else, but I wasn't just like any chance I could get just sit there and play video games. Like I would go out and I would do other shit and I would play games when I had time.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to RuneScape,
Oh
I
God,
say
dude.
I say I paid for the subscription. My mom did, and her concession to pay for it for me was that I could play an hour a day. Like that's all the time I could get on that game. Was an hour a day.
Jesus.
And so, like, yeah, I
Poor
mean,
thing.
parts of it were
Some rookie numbers.
like restricted. Not by my choice. By my choice, I would have sat there and played the game all fucking day. But that was her justification. That was her concession. I didn't have the money to buy it. She was buying it for me. So
Them's the rules.
them's the rules.
Yeah.
But when I started getting older and shit like that, it didn't really matter. Like I would get home and I would play games for a couple of hours and then go do whatever. So
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents were definitely against it. They wouldn't even let me use the internet.
Oh,
yeah.
God. See,
Yeah.
I just am jealous of all them kids that now have, whole gaming console systems and all the games, all the computer games they could ever dream of set up in their room and just playing nonstop. And then their dad comes home and he starts playing video games with them. Like,
Dude, yeah, isn't that
freaking
sick?
Luckies.
That's gonna be me.
Brandon, if
Probably not gonna
you
be me.
ever get beaten at a video game by by your kid, shame. You're automatically stripped of all privileges.
See, but here's the
Okay,
thing, though.
Jeremy.
If Brandon does get beat by one of his kids or kid, if he just wants to have the one, then if it's like a first person shooter, just hit me up. And if it's like a fucking RTS or like a Smarty Pants game, dude, he'll just hit you up
Smarty
and we will slaughter that
We'll
kid,
just
dude.
straight up murk him, alright?
This hurts some feelings.
Just gonna make it
For
cry.
sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those deals that. So Jeremy, let me put it to you this way.
Mm-hmm.
So if your dad did like playing video games when you were growing up, and played video games with you, and let you play plenty of video games, if you would have got to the point of being better than him, would that be shame to his family?
Yes, it would. The second I beat him, I'd set the controller down, I'd look at him, I'd say, "Father, it is time." We'd go out back and we'd put him down.
How would you
Look at
feel
me.
if he called one of
Look at
his
me.
friends just to come like shit on you real quick in the game?
I'd
Here's
be
my
like,
vengeance, child.
"A new challenger approaches."
God
Be
damn
kind of sick, you know.
Right?
Say-
Get to whoop on some old farts and some video games, dude.
it. Kid turns at you, beats you in the game, says, "Look at me, look at me." Does the whole eyes to eyes thing. I'm the father now.
And I'm like, "Sorry, Dad. It's the rules. All right, I gotta go live with him now."
Bend over, time for a spanking. Oh god.
I wish that would have been just a great time. All right.
Oh yeah. Saw an interesting thing on TikTok where it's like someone was talking about how parents who refuse to be friends with their kids are bad parents, and I'm like,
No.
that's kind of weird because like it was really weird for me because my mom was really big on like I'm not y'all's friend, right? Like we get along great, and me and my mom will hang out and like talk and stuff. It's really cool. Like we are basically friends, but I think her thought process is more like I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings, right? I'll tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear, because I mean, which granted, good friends will do that too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things, though. I don't really know. I kind of see what the person is talking about, where they're like, if you're not your kid's friend, then you're a bad parent because then if it's constant just being reprimanded, then yeah, that sucks. But
So I think it's okay to not be friends with your kid, especially when they're younger. I mean, as they grow up and they have a life of their own, like, fuck yeah, be their friend.
that's what I think is a difference, right? Because
Like,
now
my
I'm
dad
older,
is
it's
one
a
of my
completely
best
different.
friends.
Yeah, like
But,
my mom is one of my best friends. Like,
but it's got to be one of those things, like, don't be their friend, but be there for them, be kind to them. I mean, like, reprimand when you need to, but other than that, you need to be there for them.
Yeah. Right. Like it's a whole other thing than just being friends with someone.
mm-hmm. Right? Because I mean, your parents are gonna have your best interests at heart, hopefully.
Yeah. But I think
They should.
it could be like a line to walk, right? Where you can still be a friend with somebody, but then also be like the friend that does call them out on their bullshit and tells them like, "Hey, you're being a jackass right now. If you don't stop it,
For
I'm
sure.
gonna beat your ass."
For sure. And I think that's the kind of like thing I think is important, right? Like be very parenting at the younger stages of life, but as they get older, I think you can kind of start getting out of that. I'm still a parent, but this person's old enough at this point to where they can take care of themselves,
Yeah.
and they know how to be a human being.
Yeah, they can make their own decisions. They we've taught them what we can, they're learning other ways now.
Yeah.
Then you can be their friends because shit, we're both adults.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I know I personally have had a much closer relationship with my parents once we all became adults. But I
For
don't
sure.
know if so. Do y'all think that there's a degree of separation that actually helps the relationship grow deeper?
Uh, it depends. I think it's per person. For me personally, definitely with my dad, because me and my dad had a rocky relationship there for a while, but now it's great. I go see him, and it's like we're chilling whenever we hang out.
Yeah, right. Like when you're stuck next to each other all the time, and you have to, live together, do all this stuff. It's almost harder to get closer in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also just a different dynamic too, right? Like whenever I was younger, I was very different from my family, so it was kind of hard for my dad to relate to me because I
Yeah.
like video games and stuff like that. I wasn't just into all the shit that they were, so it was kind of hard to understand me.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older and I'm more into vehicles and I'm more of a, I'm more relatable to my dad now.
Yeah. You
And
have
I think
more in
that's what made
common.
it easier. Yeah, exactly. And I think the time away, kind of helped him see that because now I come back around and I'm like, I'm still the same person, but I've just grown in such a way that he's, pretty happy to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so then, just to kind of bring it back to me being jealous of kids, like having uh, a parent that would be super into video games and having this whole thing that y'all can now bond over. So, do y'all think that that will lead to any significant changes, I guess, in our society? Like, do you think kids will be more open with their parents and more have a stronger relationship on average and just be able to, I mean, I'm just going off on a tangent, but be able to, now that you can talk about things, now mental health is more aware for everybody and just making everything better and we'll all be brought together by video games.
I think society's in a point right now where we're trying to find out what the real problems are. Right. And I think parents and their kids being able to play video games and kind of, not be so serious all the time is going to be a good big stepping stone for that. Right. You can just cut back and just kind of enjoy video games and playing with your child in that way. And
Mm-hmm.
especially kids who have like physical or mental disabilities who can't play normal sports and get outside and do stuff like that. It's going to be huge.
Yep. I don't know. I always find the idea of a dystopian video game future to be something I want. So
Where everybody's in like virtual reality and shit.
yeah, like Ready Player One, but just with
Yeah,
like
it's
Skyrim.
exactly what I thought. Oh, dude, that would be sick. Honestly, like
Right?
the whole Ready Player One movie, I thought was fucking awesome. Like as far as like the game aspect. Now the way society was, yeah, it was it's a little bad. People just living in garbage essentially.
Right, living in tiny little rooms,
Yeah, that
not
was
worried
kind of
about anything.
yeah. So I think it'll be a little different than that. We won't be just fucking destitute, but
Yeah.
definitely an interesting concept. I just want video gaming to progress to that point to where you're able to like put this headgear on and then be transported into a video game. That would be
Right,
sick.
like full
Yeah.
immersion.
Yeah, dude, like you're not playing the game, you're in the game.
Yeah, it's just real life now.
Feels as real as it, should. You shouldn't exactly feel pain, not
Right, yeah,
severe, but
yeah.
like if they have like kind of a tens unit kind of thing where it just kind of jerks your muscles around and stuff to have you react how you would react if you got shot or something. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, honestly. Well,
Probably a little
so
shocking at first, but
I definitely want like full immersive video games just because I think it would be an amazing thing to do. Um, even like if you want to, I mean, it's basically just a video game still, but like fully immersive movies where you're just like
yeah, that'd be
walking
cool.
around in the world of a movie. That'd be pretty freaking dope. But we already, in this day and age, have people dying from starvation in cyber cafes because they forgot to eat because they fed Sim 4 today, so they don't need to eat. Like,
Are you serious?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, dude, people
People are
die.
starving to death in cyber cafes.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
it's I
That's
don't
a
want
whole
to,
other. That's like a problem.
right? I don't want to demean their lives, but it's hilarious.
Honestly, that's so ridiculous. How do you not start feeling the pain, the hunger
Yeah,
pains?
I don't
Like
know, man, but
what?
I want to say, and I could just totally be making this number up, but that like there's like one or two people that die a day in cyber cafes.
My God.
Yeah, just because they're just so entranced in their game.
What fucking virgins, dude?
I mean, that was, I've definitely had those days where I don't eat, or I'll eat like once in the morning and then not for the rest of the day, and
Oh,
I won't
same.
leave my room or my chair.
Totally. Yeah, same here, dude. But like that's just one day, and at the end of the day, you're like, oh fuck, I'm hungry.
Yeah. It's
But
like
you know,
12
back
a.m.
I don't remember what civilization it was, but they actually did use video games to distract from the starvation problem they were having.
Hmm.
Because whenever you're playing video games, you're less perceptive of your own hunger. So
Yeah.
they would use like board games and shit to make people forget about being hungry, and it worked really fucking well.
I feel like that's a
hmm
very China thing to do.
I don't remember what I really don't remember which one it was. I want to say like Greece or Rome or some bullshit. They would play like board games and stuff to distract from hunger, and
Yeah.
it worked because they were having really bad civil unrest because of the hunger and
Right.
starvation problem. And so yeah, they just gave people they gave people not video games, just regular games to play,
Yeah. Well,
and
just
it
entertainment
worked.
in general is very powerful. I mean, there's all the like stories and like philosophies from Rome in its peak that if you just give the people the arena, if you give them fights, keep them entertained, they'll do anything for you. They
Yeah.
Because like even today, I feel like we have a very high um like bandwagoning factor when it comes to political figures of
Oh my
it's
god,
it's
yeah, we really do.
it's an image game more than anything else,
hmm
right? Like
Yep.
it's if they seem like a good person and if they do some funny things or do some really epic things, then everyone just loves him. Like even with and I haven't looked into it, but with the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, everyone loves him, right? Like everyone thinks he's amazing, and I also think he's pretty cool, but I know absolutely nothing about him, right? But I think he's
I'm
a
impressed
stand-up
that
dude.
well, something that impresses me about him is unlike most political figures and shit like that, people who are presidents and heads of countries, he's still there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
he
he
Yeah.
could have
stayed.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have left. He could have completely just left Ukraine because there's not really. It would be safer for him not to be there, but he didn't. He's
Yeah,
still there, and he has survived like 3 or 4 assassination attempts already from Russia.
yeah, something like that. I think they confirmed like 3 of them.
So that's just like a respect thing for me. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I'm not gonna say he's a great guy or anything like that because I have no idea.
Right?
But there is a level of respect I do have for him not just getting on his jet and leaving.
Yeah, and dipping out. Right? But
Yeah, because
there's
he
Yeah.
it's
totally
like
could.
this. Like you'll see all the it's propaganda, right? Of even though
Totally.
propaganda usually has a negative connotation to it, but it's you always see the videos of like, President Zelensky chilling with all his soldiers, and everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, awesome thing to do," because it is an awesome thing to do. But
Yeah.
then, what if
Cool.
right after the camera shuts off, he goes, "All right, fuck y'all," and then goes and hides in his 5-story down bunker that could survive anything.
True. Yeah, I
Very
mean
true.
that's one of those things, right? You never know, and it is propaganda, right? Like, I mean, anything on mainstream media anymore is propaganda because they're pushing for their agenda, and that's really all pop propaganda is just making people believe in your
Yeah,
agenda.
your side of it,
Yeah.
I mean,
right?
that's oh my god, like that's American mainstream media is just garbage now. I mean,
Yeah, it
it's been
is.
bad, It's been bad, but it is just hot fucking trash now. Like I don't understand how people can watch any of that bullshit because all of them are so full of shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I just flat out don't watch cable. Fuck cable.
I don't
It's
either.
useless.
No,
Same.
yeah.
But I always try to get listen to look up news articles, watch some news stuff on YouTube, and I try to find the ones that aren't biased. But even no one's ever truly unbiased. So I
Right.
always will see
Yeah.
this thing again, you've been hearing that Ukraine is just absolutely obliterating Russia, but are they? I don't actually know, right? They could
No,
be.
they're
Yeah.
not.
They could
They're
be,
not.
but I think right that they're mostly just holding out. Really, right? Which is more than what they
Yeah,
were expected to
essentially.
do. But
Essentially, they're just trying to survive as long as they can, and they have claimed air support superiority supposedly. Like that's what's being reported. So I
yeah,
mean,
with was it the Ghost of Kiev?
apparently, yeah, that
Is
dude.
he real?
A lot of people are saying he's not
Yeah,
because most pilots who get six downs, like they
yeah,
down
confirmed
six other
kills.
aircraft within their career, are considered aces, and they're saying he did like six or more in a day. A lot of people are saying, like a lot of pilots and people who are in the Air Force are saying
They're
that that's
nah.
impossible.
Yeah,
Like that's
Heck
just
yeah.
not possible.
right. And so you see all these people on all the social medias being uh, Crane's gonna absolutely obliterate Russia, and even their grandmas are just mowing down hundreds of Russian troops, and they're winning, hands down. And there's a part of me that's I mean, guys, if y'all are overselling their abilities, you're probably hurting them in the long run.
But I mean, there is a lot of it that has to do with morale, though. A lot of the Russian soldiers don't agree with the war, and a lot of Russian civilians don't agree with the way their economy's tanking.
Yeah.
Like I think some Russian TV station had all of their employees quit, and they played some fucking song that was the same thing that happened during the fall of the Soviet Union. So they
Yep.
basically like repeated that kind of instance because whenever at the fall of the Soviet Union, a TV station lost all of their employees and they played that song, and so this one's doing it too in this situation. So a lot of people are saying though that a lot of the Russians are demoralized and like a lot of the soldiers are defecting and stuff like that. It's a really interesting kind of situation that's going on.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that from an outside perspective, for the most part, having truly extremely hard bias towards one direction never helps, right? If you're radicalizing the other side, you're saying your side has everything perfect, then all you're really doing is hurting yourself by making you the enemy to everyone else,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're going
I
hard with your people, and they will die for you, but now everyone else that's even in the middle hates you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. I was actually looking. I saw this guy who pointed out something that Biden said, or that Biden done, and Biden had shut down some kind of pipeline production for Russia, or something like that, or I don't know. It was something to do with shutting down a Russian pipeline for oil,
Yeah.
and he said we're doing this to hurt their economy, essentially. And then the dude was like, "So if shutting down a pipeline hurts their economy, why did we do that to ourselves?"
Right.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's
I'm not a politician. I'm not a rocket scientist.
I mean, I've launched a bottle rocket. Does that count?
I've never even done that, so you're smarter than me, bro.
Me, I'm a genius.
I don't know if being smarter than me constitutes you being a
I'm
genius,
a
but
genius.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. I just the
it's a.
whole world situation stresses me out.
It feels like we're in a matrix, right? Like, because there's a whole ass war going on, in Eastern Europe, and I'm just chilling over here playing fucking Power Washing
Right,
Simulator,
just like playing games. Like, how does this
as if it's
affect
not a
me?
big deal. And I like how nobody's like helping. We're all just cheering from the sidelines, like,
Yeah.
yeah, go
Yeah.
Ukraine, fuck you, Russia, and but none of us are helping.
Yeah, but
We're all just
it's
kind
one
of
of
sitting here
those
jerking off.
where if we get involved, Russia goes nuclear.
Right? There's no guarantee of that, though.
Dude, well, did you? There was an interview with Putin that was like,
I
I
saw
mean,
that.
it was
Yeah.
translated, so it could be totally wrong, but it said something. He was like, "Yeah, we're going into Ukraine, and if anybody tries to stop us, we will fight back with everything we have, and we won't win, but you won't either."
Yeah, I saw that, and I kind of, I don't know. I mean, if we just preemptively nuke Russia, not really, but I'm just saying it's just weird. We're in such a weird spot because of nuclear arsenals across the world,
Yeah,
where there's nothing we can really do, but it's so weird just sitting there watching it go down. You
right.
know,
Mhm.
because we don't want to incite the fucking apocalypse, right? Like
Yeah,
that's not anything anybody wants to do. But at
yeah,
the same time, nobody just I mean, it's kind of weird just sitting here watching this shit happen.
yeah, and just being like, okay, hopefully that resolves itself.
If only Ukraine had joined NATO sooner, dude.
They've been trying, man. I don't know. It's just all of it stresses me out. I don't like it.
That really
Why
stressed
can't
me
we all
out for
just get
some reason.
along?
I kind of wish something would happen because I'm kind of tired of just like the weird state we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just gonna be every war from now on is a
Yeah.
don't piss off the other side too much because then they will kill everything and then you'll kill
Yeah.
everything on their side and then we're all at a loss.
Yep. That's what
True.
happens when we get too strong, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm not smart enough or influential enough to care, I guess.
Yeah, true. I've honestly stopped looking at a lot of the news about it because it's just such a
Mhm.
fucking annoying thing. Isn't that like? I feel like that shouldn't be like as frowned upon as it is. Like being in the dark about shit.
Yeah, not caring or not wanting to be involved.
Yeah.
That's just Sweden's MO, right?
Actually, dude, I saw a fucking video explanation of why Sweden has not been in a single war since for 200 plus years. Like their last war was in 1815
God damn.
with Napoleon.
Oh yeah.
God damn.
Were
So
they
the
fighting with
reason
Napoleon or against Napoleon?
against.
Oh, okay.
So the reason for that is because they have the Swiss Alps protecting them from Italy and Austria, and then they have another mountain range protecting them from France. And then the only way they can that's like easily accessible into Switzerland is from their north eastern plateau, which is towards Germany.
Mm-hmm.
But every single road and bridge leading into Switzerland is rigged with remote detonators or remote explosives that they can detonate remotely at any point in time. And also, every single male in their population has to serve in the military for at least 172 days, and they're all provided with rifles and can all be made,
They're
to
like called into action.
in within 72 hours
Damn.
of an emergency being declared. So Switzerland's fucking hardcore, dude.
Right? Like
Like
if
they're
they get
metal as
involved, you know you
fuck.
done fucked up.
Well, it's more so like just you can do what you want, just don't invade us or
Yeah,
we will
yeah, yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah.
Like fuck around and find out.
Basically, dude, that's Switzerland right now. I was like, I didn't know that though. I didn't know they were that fucking like set up. They have a fucking little base there.
I mean, if you to stay, I feel like to stay neutral, you have to be able to be strong enough to not get involved. Like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if you're not strong enough, then people will just attack you, making you not neutral.
Well,
Where so you
that was kind of Trump's thing too. He would like threaten, he's like, "Don't fuck with us or any of our allies, or we will completely end you."
yeah. Well, that's so. I think we haven't had good presidents in a very, 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 very long time. The
I
U.S.
agree.
political system is just absolute trash in every single regard.
Oh, dude, you don't even get me fucking started. I will get so heated so fast on this.
But I am. There's a part of me that is glad that Trump is not president right now because yes, Biden's not handling it as good as he could. But I think Trump is insane enough that he would have just sent a fucking army to Ukraine and actually gotten us involved in like a full world war.
I don't think so. I kind of disagree. I mean, we were
It's
probably at our
crazy.
most peaceful and most prosperous with Trump in office. Not saying
Because
that I'm,
people thought he was crazy.
exactly,
They're
dude.
like,
See,
this
it's
motherfucker
weird.
might actually kill himself trying to kill us. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's no way to really know though,
yeah,
unless
that's true.
you were in office. But
Yeah,
I definitely agree that like we haven't had a good president in a long fucking time.
oh
They've
yeah.
all just been kind of fucking. I mean, a lot of our just politicians in office are so fucking stupid.
Isn't it just kind of funny that the Ukrainian president, who was a comedian and actor, is better, at least for what I can tell, better than most of our politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all of our politicians are fucking ancient and have been doing the same thing for 200 goddamn years because there aren't very there aren't exactly term limits to any of this bullshit.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stupid.
All right. Well, to kind of bring it off of politics and world devastation, and tangentially related, mostly I'm gonna bring out my college professor on you guys in the first week of classes and throw icebreaker at y'all.
Go
Um,
for it.
what? So this is all spawning from the idea of wars or like just huge wars. It's just absolutely terrifying to me if I start thinking about it. So, what are some of your guys' like biggest fears?
Oh, definitely heights.
Really, you don't like heights?
Yes, I'm fucking terrified of heights.
So, is it like a certain distance that sets you off, or like unstable footing high up, or like
It's, it's really weird. I experienced this in Colorado because like I'm afraid of heights, like really afraid of heights, but I can kind of push through it. Right? Like I actually kind of enjoy being up there and being afraid like that because I feel like it makes me a stronger mentally to face that fear. But we went up on this bridge that goes over this big like crevasse, and like we had smoked before going up there because we're in Colorado, and so I'm high as fuck, and I get up there, and I look down after I get out onto the bridge, and I'm like, and it's like a walking bridge, so it's not very long, it's kind of old, and I look down, and I was like, oh Jesus Christ, I'm about to have a panic attack because it was so high up. Really, it is just a distance thing. Like
yeah,
from however, like the higher up it is, the more terrifying it is.
right? Well, because I also am not a huge fan of heights. Like the other day, we were working on some pole lights in a parking lot, and we have a boom lift that I think it's like a 50-foot reach up, and I was basically all the way extended on it. So it's one of those where you move even slightly and the whole thing rocks left and right like 5 or 6 feet. So
Oh yeah.
it feels unstable and the wind's whipping around and I'm trying to not drop my tools and I'm like, on the verge of a panic attack the whole time because I don't like it. But
Yep.
then when I went skydiving, I I was fine. Like I wasn't scared of it.
I want to try skydiving since I'm scared of heights. A lot of people, I hear that from a lot of people. Like skydiving wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh.
Like I think the worst part of it was the lead up. Like while you're in the little plane as it's circling, getting higher and higher, then because I'm just stressing myself out. But the second you get up to the door and you're hanging out, but your dude is still in because you have to go strapped to somebody.
Yeah.
Then you're just sitting there like, at least for me, I was like, well, I've already committed to this. I mean,
And
if I die, I die, I guess. So-
So Nick knows from experience. I have no problem with heights.
oh yeah, yeah. Brandon doesn't give a fuck. I'm like, you bastard. Must
It's just
be
one of those
nice.
Nick's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
But Brandon does have a fear that I am aware of
What I
that
like.
is so fucking like unjustifiable, and I don't understand. It's like a fear of like jumping over gaps for some reason. He can't do it. It's the funniest fucking shit to watch him like try and get himself to do it.
So
Oh, I haven't had to deal with that in forever.
That's
like
back in the parkour days in Big Spring, dude.
Oh yeah.
parkour, hell yeah.
See, like I would always like do the gap jumps and try and like get Brandon to man up and do it. But he could never like get himself to fucking commit.
Yeah.
Or it took a long time. You know, he had to like sit there and amp himself up.
Yeah.
Always
I
thought
mean,
it was
Talk
funny.
myself into it.
I could get
Mhm.
that though, because like, we've been working up on some roofs that are, pretty tall. I'm fine up on the roof, like getting right up to the edge. I'm okay with it. But then the second I have to climb off the edge onto a ladder to get down, I like hesitate.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's the worst. I
Right?
always hate climbing down. Climbing up isn't very bad, but climbing down is the worst.
Yeah, because you have to like. It's the same thing. Have either of y'all been rappelling?
Yeah.
So rappelling is real fun, but getting over the edge is probably the most scary thing I've ever done heights related, because
Like
you
having
do
to hang your body
yeah,
off.
like you're standing
Yeah.
on an edge and they go, okay, put all of your weight backwards over the ledge.
Yeah,
All
just
of
like
it.
fall backwards.
Yeah.
You're like,
You're like, no,
what?
no, please. Like every ounce of your every fiber of your being, God, is just screaming at you like, no, do not do this. But I went with a church group, like everything I do. And we had a girl that in our youth group that went first, or at least before me, and she did the thing where she started to lean back, but then she tried to step back to catch herself, so her feet went over the ledge, and she like face planted up against the wall.
Oh.
And like gave herself a bloody nose. And so, once you're down there, then you just have to kick back off the wall and you're fine. She made it down. But then I had to go right after her.
Ah, shit.
I was like, ugh.
It was just like, poop.
Like, I don't want to do this. But then once you get over it, it's fine.
So my thing was I had no problem climbing stuff, but jumping over it. That's what I was
Something.
fucked off on.
Right. Well, I think a lot of mine...
because I had experiences where I fucking like would try to jump over a gap and just fucking catch my foot on the other ledge and just eat shit.
Yeah.
I still remember there was one wall we were climbing, Brandon, and it was like this brick wall where the like grout and stuff was
I
like
can
coming out of it.
Feel it.
And you went and you got way too. If you want to tell the story, it's fucking great.
So it's kind of. I don't remember if it was brick or rock.
It was brick. It was some kind of weird brick.
Yeah, so it's like it was brick, but it was an old building, so the mortar was like falling out. So there was all of the mortar lines you could grab onto.
Yeah,
like you could grab into it and climb up it.
And at first, like we were just like piddle paddling, just going from the fucking very bottom and then trying to crawl up it,
Yeah, and I mean it's like a 20-foot tall wall.
Yeah, it was huge.
And I was like, I'm gonna get as high up as I can, just off the ground, like jump and get up as high as I can, and then finish climbing. Because we would get like through like 10, 15 feet up, and then just like our fingers would be dead, so we would have to drop back down. Because like, fuck this, I can jump. I can probably reach up like to get to like 7-8 feet, and just like start from there.
Yeah.
And so I was like preparing myself, and so I squatted down, and my arms were kind of behind me, and I swung like I started jumping, and I swung my hands forward.
And he was like gonna swing them up to get some lift.
I was gonna like shoot my arms up to help, jump higher. I was way closer to the wall than I thought, or I swung my hands way further out than I thought. And so I absolutely ripped my right hand against that wall.
Dude,
I've got a picture of it still.
You like
Yeah.
full strength smacked your hands against that wall, and it was like jagged, just shitty old brick. I was like, oh, it was the funniest shit whenever it happened. Oh my god.
So I'm jumping, so I hit my hands and I'm still jumping. So the momentum carried me up, ripped my hands further along the wall,
Oh yeah.
and then I had to bail out of it. So like now I'm kind of falling forward, so I had to kick off the wall so that I didn't hit my head on the wall. And so I come down, just blood dripping from my hand. Nick's over there laughing his ass off because I'm facing the wall.
I almost fucking was like crying, and I'd never laugh that hard. Oh, dude, it had me dying because I couldn't believe he did something so fucking stupid. I was like, there's no way.
Absolutely ripped my fucking hand open, and it ended the day.
Yep, that ended our day. We went and had to get him fixed up because he was bleeding all over the place.
Well, okay, so since we're fucking having me tell this story,
Oh god,
no.
you want me
Let's
to tell
go.
the Woodrack story?
Let's go.
and getting ripped on this story, Nick, tell him about your bright idea to jump onto my shed roof.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was probably one of the worst injuries I actually got too.
I think so.
I don't think it was the worst, but it's definitely one of the worst. So
yeah, it's pretty
me
bad.
and Brandon, this is still during our parkour days in fucking high school. I think I've told you this story before, Jeremy.
Probably.
I think I showed him the picture.
So we're hanging out at Brandon's house and jumping on the trampoline and doing stupid shit, and it was like getting late, and we would every once in a while Brandon had this like shed that we would jump onto, like we would just jump and grab the edge and like heave ourselves up onto and then jump off. I think it was onto the trampoline we would.
Yeah.
And so I had the bright idea, I'm gonna jump off this ladder onto the roof of the shed.
Okay.
And Brandon's like watching me and he's like, yeah, do it.
As a good friend should, yeah.
And so it's one of those like A ladders. So
Yeah,
it's in the
ladder.
shape, of an A. And so I fucking set it up, and it's like if you're looking at the building, you can see an A being made out of the ladder. That's the orientation it's in. And so I climb up to the top of it, and I go to jump, and I go whoop, and the ladder just falls right up from underneath me.
The absolute worst position that the ladder could be in to jump off of.
Yeah, the ladder was in the worst absolute position. So I jump off of the ladder, and the ladder just completely flops the other way away from me. And I catch the edge of this of the roof of this shed with my hands, and I start swinging down, and my leg clips this fucking rusty old, just shitty iron like wood rack made out of square iron tubing that like the top of it was just cut, looked like with like a plasma cutter or something.
Just torch cut the top of it.
Yeah, so it still had burrs and shit on it. It was gnarly, and I clipped the corner of that square iron tubing with my shin, like the right inside of my shin, and oh man, it hurt. I fucking landed on the ground because of course I hit it, then let go of the roof because it hurt, and I fell down there, and I was like, oh, I'm bleeding because I felt it wet.
Not only did he just like clip this wood rack and fall off, have to let go of the roof, it was a wood rack. There was wood on the rack.
Yeah,
so he didn't land on flat ground. He landed on a pile of wood.
Yeah, it was fucking ass, dude. And so I felt my leg, and it was like, oh, I'm bleeding. And so we went inside to go check it out. And we went in there, and I couldn't really see it because of the angle it's at. But Brandon was like, oh, Jesus, dude, you have a hole in your leg. It straight up punctured all the way into me.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it straight up punched a hole in his shin.
Yeah, like we went in the bathroom and started just pouring like alcohol and peroxide into it. It was like a little volcano, dude. Every time he poured peroxide in, it was just like, and it would just vomit foam, like red bloody foam, dude. It was gnarly.
It was aggressive.
I didn't even like shed a single tear either. I was like giggling whenever he was pouring the peroxide and stuff on it.
Like a fucking psychopath.
All that
That's one of those things. I mean, no, it wasn't even that. Like it hurt. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, I mean, I've experienced pain, and like I was at an age at that point to where you don't really. I mean, as a guy, I didn't break my arm or anything,
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to make me cry because I grew up riding dirt bikes and getting hurt all the time. So I mean that wasn't it wasn't like it's such an intense pain that it was unbearable. It
makes you
just it
cry.
hurt really
Well, even
bad.
then, like I feel like now, because when I broke my arm, I remember I think I was crying, because my
You
arm was
broke
shattered.
your arm,
Yeah.
yeah. That's just fucking
But like now, if I bleed at least once on a good day, on a good day of work, I will make myself bleed at least
same.
once.
You wouldn't think working in IT I would, but those
Yeah.
server like
They're
rails and
sharp,
lids
right?
and shit, they're sharp as a fucking bitch. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Like
Oh,
I'll
bro,
I'll cut
my
myself
hands
open
are
or stab
constantly
myself.
torn up.
Yeah.
I think all of that's I think that's just part of working and like using your body, your hands. But
Yeah. It's just constantly cutting them open. I don't know. Well, even like I'll wear gloves a lot of the times, because working with electricity, it's probably smart. Well, side story I'll get back to, but I even wearing gloves, like I'll cut myself somehow through the gloves.
I
Like, I
mean
don't
that
get it.
I feel like that's part of being an electrician too.
Yeah. Well, so what was it? Yesterday? No, the day before yesterday. I got shocked 6 times in one day by 120-volt power.
You don't sound like a very good electrician right now.
Well, okay, it's because I got new gloves, and my old gloves were leather, and they were insulated, so I could work live, and
Mhm.
it wouldn't be too bad as long as I didn't ground myself out, which I didn't. But then I got new gloves, and they aren't as insulated. So I was working live because we work in a lot of server rooms that you can't shut power off. Like they do not allow it, so you have to work it
Fuck no,
live.
dude.
And
Yeah.
I just kept shocking myself between the leads as I was making up joints. And every single time I would go, ow! Alright, and my journey would be like, what'd you do? I was like, I got shocked.
Every time.
Great times.
Again.
Again.
He's like, one time he's like, remind me not to let you work on anything like even close to live 480, because we don't work like 120 is the only thing we'll work live. Anything else we won't work on it directly live, but if we're working in the same panel, sometimes we'll leave it live. If we're not touching it. But he's like, yeah, you're not allowed near it. I was like, okay, fine by me. I'd rather not die.
Dude, honestly. Yeah, like I feel like doing electrical work is probably my least favorite thing.
I love it. I'm all about it.
Do not like. It's like
Yeah, I am not an electrician.
it's just the wiring. I hate dealing with wiring so fucking much. Like anytime I have to actually install a RAID cable in a server or like uninstall one and put onboard cables in it,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, fuck this shit.
I don't know. I find it rewarding walking into a building that doesn't have power to it, and then bending pipes, setting boxes, running cable, hooking it all up, making all the joints, and then going over and flipping the switch and watching all the lights turn on.
That is pretty cool.
It's nice. It's very
Yeah.
satisfying. It takes months and lots of blood, but I get there.
The next guy
Fair
who works
enough.
on it may need to watch out for my blood.
I actually do think I've put a joint together that had my blood on the joint, so
Nice.
it's probably
Oh, yeah.
still there.
Yeah, you gotta leave. You
There's
gotta
plenty
leave
of
your
houses.
signature.
There's plenty of houses there's some trace of blood in the studs behind
Yeah,
the
it
drywall.
happens. Lots of sharp objects,
It happens.
Yeah.
Facts, though,
Shit, I
dude.
almost cut the tip of my thumb off with a stove the other day.
Dude,
I say
Really?
the other day. This has been like 3 months
How
ago.
did that work? How's that happen? With a
That's-
stove?
Yeah.
How do you hurt yourself in the dumbest ways, Brandon? I swear to God.
stoves are
You're
sharp.
like talented at hurting yourself in the stupid ways.
I mean, yeah. So I was fucking installing a stove in one of the houses, and I I was reaching under it to level it, so to like adjust the legs on it.
Yeah.
And so I was laying on my back and I reached under there and I was like an inch away from reaching the fucking leg. So I pulled my hand back and like did like the shoulder scoot you do when you're laying down, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't pull my hand back far enough apparently, and the back sides of stoves, especially the ones we were installing, are just shear cut metal.
Yeah.
So you know, like the edge that leaves on metal when you just
dude,
shear
yeah,
cut
it's
it.
gnarly.
It's gnarly, and it's covered in oil because it helps it not rust.
Yeah.
The back bottom part of the stove. So the where that leg sits and like where I had to reach my hand into, there's an edge right there. And like I did like the shoulder scoot thing and just caught like the top knuckle of my thumb on it, and it just ripped it open.
Oh.
And it was one of those where like I could hold like above the cut and bend my thumb, and the top part of the knuckle would stay and just open. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just lots of hurting yourself. It's fine, Brandon. One day you'll be able to not slice things open.
Ooh, I cut myself with my
Eventually.
knife on my middle finger on my left hand
Yeah.
with my pocket knife, trying to put a slit in the top of a chicken pot pie to warm it up.
Oh my! You say I hurt myself in the dumbest ways.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
way
You're
dumber.
just more gifted at doing it more often. All right, I do it rarely.
Why are you using a pocket knife to use a spoon or something?
Have you met me?
Fair enough.
I'm not the
God damn it.
tastiest cookie in the cookie jar. Okay.
You're also not the fucking shiniest shovel in the fucking garden shed.
No, not at
I mean,
all, dude.
if your shovels are shiny, that means they're useless. So.
Yeah.
And on that word
That
of
means
wisdom,
I'm useful.
yes, on that word of wisdom, I think we're gonna call it for today. We were all over the goddamn place today.
I think
I
we're more all over the place this week than we were last week.
think so,
Good.
yeah. Which I didn't think we could do, but look at us improving constantly.
Oh yeah,
Look at us
dude.
go.
All right. Well,
The fucking-
anything you guys need to apologize for before we end it for the week?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so. I do want to say just try not to hurt yourself in dumb ways like me and Brandon.
Facts.
Always good advice.
Don't use a fucking pocket knife to try and put a slit in the top of a pot pie.
Don't shoulder scoot with your hand underneath a stove.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to call it. I hope everybody has a great week, and I hope you will join us again next week. As usual, you can listen to us on all the places you can get your podcast, except for Apple, because I still can't figure that out. They make it very difficult to post onto there. But we're on Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. What am I missing? RSS, our hosting service. We're everywhere. Okay, so it's really hard to miss. Follow
don't
us on
forget-
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, dog. We post all of our every time we upload a new video, we post it on Twitter. So
Yep.
if you want to try and stay up to date when we come out with a new video,
whoa,
you can find it there.
coming out. But and we'll probably start posting some other things on there. I don't know what. It's probably just gonna be memes, but we'll figure it out. All right, everyone, have a great week, and we'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.